Okay, welcome back. My name is Kara-Leah. This is my video blog. Just getting comfortable here. So I really wanted to come back and finish off what I was talking about yesterday, the theory of empowerment. So yesterday I explained how we tend to relate to emotions in one of three ways. We externalize, we internalize, or we identify. And we will all do each of those three, but some will do more than others. We'll all have different propensities, I guess. Okay, so each of these has a different effect on how we experience life. So when we externalize an emotion, we are literally throwing out the painful emotion at the world, and quite often it's being thrown at people. So we're throwing pain at people, and often that pain is going to those that are closest to us because they're the ones that are around us the most. So when we're externalizing painful emotion, we're often harming our relationships. So when we do that, we are disconnecting from the people around us. So the effect of externalizing emotion can be feeling disconnected from people. When we internalize our emotions and so flee from them internally and go up into our head, we are disconnecting from our body in order to do that so that we don't actually feel our emotions so strongly. And when we disconnect from our body, we're disconnecting from our heart, and we can't actually feel our authentic self. So internalizing emotion means that we're starting to disconnect from our authentic selves, and we don't always know who we are anymore or what's true for us. When we identify with an emotion and we label it good or bad, and then that leads to either aversion, avoidance, or clinging, then we're disconnecting from the flow of life. And what I mean by that is that when we cling to something, we're not going with the flow. You think of a leaf going down a river and it's with the flow of life, right? But if it gets caught or stuck on a rock, all of a sudden the river's still going on by, but the leaf is stuck there. And that is what happens when we keep trying to recreate an experience because we really like the feeling of it. So when we cling, which I also call addictive behavior, clinging to an emotion, clinging to an experience, we're disconnecting from the flow of life. So the three primary ways that we relate to emotion have three different effects. We externalize, we disconnect from people. We internalize, we disconnect from our authentic self. And when we identify, we disconnect from the flow of life. And like I said, all of us, it's not like we only do one of these things. We'll do all of them in different varying amounts. Okay, so next bit. So at the beginning I said that emotion was energy in motion with sensations attached to it, and when we feel those sensations, that's what we define as an emotion, like joy or sadness or grief. So my question then is, if we externalize an emotion and we're throwing out those painful sensations, what happens to the energy behind it? Where's the energy gone, or the power? And the same thing when we internalize and we push it away and we don't feel those sensations that are arising. What's happening to the energy or power that we're not feeling or experiencing? So I think that this also creates different ways that we interact with life. So for someone who is externalizing their emotion, throwing out the painful energy, the painful sensations, they're also throwing away their energy or their power. And you think for a moment about what that means. If you're throwing away your energy or power, I think you're going to have a subconscious or an unconscious feeling that you know that your power is somewhere out there. And then if you know that your power is somewhere out there, you're going to be unconsciously motivated to take actions that will help you retrieve that power from the world out there. And this manifests in any kind of behavior that is about having power over people, power over the environment, any kind of control. And you can see straight away how this is starting to work, right? People who externalize emotions then need to control the environment in order to pull their energy and power back into themselves. Now, if you're internalizing your emotion, you're disconnecting from your authentic self. You're also disconnecting from your internal sense of energy or power, because you come out of your body, out of your heart, and up into your head, you're not just pushing away or denying or avoiding your own feelings or emotions. You're also pushing away, denying, or avoiding your own internal sense of power. So you're going to become disempowered and experience life as a victim. So things are just going to get done to you because you won't have the sense of being connected to power enough to be able to stand up and say, hey, that's not right for me, that's not good for me. The third way of relating to emotion was identifying with it, which was when we create a story about good and bad, and then we cling to or we avoid, so we're either an addict or living in fear, and that creates that disconnection from the flow of life. Where does the energy or emotion go then? So with that, we are actually feeling the sensation, so the energy or power of the emotion stays with us, but because we are then going into either clinging or avoiding behavior, the energy or power of the emotion is used to hold up that behavior. So in essence, it's actually creating our identity. So we're solidifying our sense of identity. So I think these are the three key ways that we relate to emotion. Externalizing disconnects us from people, it means we're power hungry. Internalizing disconnects us from our authentic self, means we're disempowered. And identifying means we disconnect from the flow of life, and then the energy or power fuels our identity. There is a fourth way, and this is when we get to the theory of empowerment. So I've got a few notes written down here, so I'm just going to have a quick look at my notes because I really want to get this right. I mean, this is important to me, I guess, because this is the journey that I've been on. Okay, so the fourth way that we can relate to an emotion, and this is what yoga is about, this is what meditation is about, is we can feel the emotion, observe the sensations that are arising, and let it go. And that's it, right? We feel, we observe, and we let it go. We don't create a story around the emotion. We don't fortify any aspect of identity. We don't disconnect from other people. And we don't disconnect from ourselves or from life. So as the feeling or sensation arises, we experience it and it dissipates. That's it, right? It's so simple. We're not actually having this detrimental effect on ourselves, on other people, on the world. And then what happens to the energy or power behind the emotion? So we're not throwing it away, we're not pushing it away, and nor are we using it to power the identity and the stories that we tell ourselves. So that energy or power behind the emotion stays with us. It stays with us. It literally empowers us. So when you think of the word empowerment, E-M, empowerment, emotion, empowerment, standing in your power. So my definition here that I'm offering to you of empowerment is someone who is able to actually feel an emotion as it arises, regardless of who's triggering it, regardless of who out there is making us feel that way. We recognize that this is our emotion. We own it, we claim it, and we feel it, we observe it, and then we let it go. There is no reactivity at all. It is just a passing emotion. And as that emotion passes, we harness the energy behind it. And so we become stronger, we become empowered, and we become contained. We stand in our power. Okay, so that is the theory of empowerment that I am offering to you. It's just a way that we can look at understanding how are you relating to emotion in your life, and how is it affecting the way that you therefore relate to other people, yourself, or life, and where is the energy behind the emotion going, and can you pull back that energy or power and claim it for yourself? Awesome.